Hey, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
We're the Rambling Reviewers.
And we went to a theater. Yay! And watched a movie. Yay! Mm-hmm. And the movie was The Batman.
Yeah, the 2022 version. Because there's already been a cartoon named that.
Oh yeah, with the Ninja Mutant Joker.
Yeah, that
weird thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fairy was a good character, but at the same time, it was weird.
It was, trying something new at least. I'll give you that.
Okay, so what can we say about this film? You're gonna find out because that's kind of our thing. But
it's a riddle. What can we say about this film? Now you decide.
No, that's just a choose your own adventure.
Yeah,
but honestly, it was really good.
Yeah, I said to you as we were leaving, like, this might be a short review. Like, what are we gonna make fun of?
Okay, this film doesn't feel like a superhero movie as much as it is a noir mystery detective thing. Yeah,
you could almost, not quite, but almost replace Batman with a regular private detective who's just doggedly on this case for some reason.
You could, but then that loses something.
It does, so that's why I don't think it should have been changed that way. I'm just kind of giving you a sense of how far they went outside the normal superhero genre, and I do appreciate that, actually.
If anything, this reminded me of The Court of Owls.
Yeah.
Some ways. It felt like a really good Batman comic story.
It felt like what The Court of Owls should have been, because I will always maintain that having read the opening and whatever, it seems like a great idea, and then later it's, The Court of Owls has a gazillion ninjas everywhere, and you need to beat all of them up. And I was like, really? That's great and all, but you're supposed to be the conspiracy people. Like, do something really clever. Don't just send out 100 ninjas. I've seen that one. They call it the League of Shadows, okay?
Hell, we call it the Foot Clan.
And the Foot Clan.
We saw it back in the 1980s, and the Ninja Turtles beat them up while making jokes about pizza.
Right. So this is, certainly there is violence in it, and they need that for a Batman story, but there's a lot of just, what is going on? How many layers are to this thing, and the Riddler has just got it all masterminded. This is the best Riddler story I have ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let's put it this way. Outside Xbox is a YouTube channel that you should probably go check out. Well, you should have checked it out like a couple years ago. I haven't been keeping track of their stuff recently. But whatever. They openly said that the Riddler was the most worthless Batman villain because he openly tells you exactly what he's going to do next. But this is like...
He's got a reason for it beyond just, let's gimmick up the story. He has something to say. He has, in fact, figured out a independently important riddle, which is, what is up with Gotham? What's all the corruption? How does everything suck so bad? And he wants to reveal the answer to everyone, but as he says at one point, no one's going to pay attention unless you make a performance out of it. You have to string them along. You have to kill people off one at a time and get them guessing, get them panicked, and then they'll understand. And I was like, that actually makes sense. That is the best reason I've ever heard for Edward Nygma, or whatever they're calling him now. He had like 2 names technically, so whatever. The best reason you could have for like making a Riddler persona and sending riddles to everybody.
Other than psychosis.
Other than just like, generic, just like, oh yeah, the Ritter's just, the Ritter's psychotic. He needs people to solve his riddles, and that's his weakness. And like, yeah, it's like a weakness, but it's like his strength in this case. Right?
Yeah. In fact, a lot of the story, if I do have to have one complaint, Batman doesn't feel like he has much agency in this story.
Yeah, a little bit.
Which is a flaw, because he's mostly going from, okay, the Riddler planted this clue, and the Riddler's so good that he goes to this place, and he's already set up the next clue, and the next clue, and the next clue. And then he doesn't have any more clues until he commits another murder. Okay.
Yeah, you didn't feel that Batman and the Riddler were in a struggle so much as the Riddler has it all planned out and Batman just, is following along. And that's like cool in one sense. It's like, oh, you're the reason I was able to kill Falcone. I have to like very conscious to say Falcone because he's always been Falcone before. But okay, Falcone. the Riddler had, like, manipulated Batman in a situation where he pulls Falcone out the front door and then he could be sniped to death. Which, you had to know that he was going to use the front door, and, like, what would happen if you'd use the back door? Or whatever.
Or like, how he apparently set up a website, and Batman had to go to this specific website when... and the Riddler was apparently just waiting on this website to have a live chat with him. It's been like days since he gave Batman that clue. So was the Riddler sitting on his computer waiting for Batman to...
No, this is he logs in to find a video that was recorded like the day before Riddler gets arrested.
No, not that one.
Oh.
Earlier, when like the whole screen was black and it had the question mark text. Yeah. So, or when the Riddler had a guy with a bomb strapped to his neck, and there is a cell phone, and the cell phone is going off constantly. Was Riddler just sitting there in his room for like a day going, redial? How did the phone have that much battery life?
I mean,
another?
Yeah.
Also, if Batman picked up at the wrong time, would he have been like, I'm sorry, I'm like halfway through a hoagie, can you call back in like 5 minutes?
Right. I mean, I can imagine he has a couple of contingency plans for like, whatever, if he's not on the other end of the line, he's got a computer that just goes like, wait for the mystery to be resolved, and like a thing displays for 30 seconds while he like eats the hoagie and then hits the button.
God. God, I should not have had that Mexican food.
Right.
Okay.
Stuff like that. So yeah, we're gonna take apart some of this, I guess, as we go. Which that's us.
Okay, but the movie starts out with a guy who turns out to be the mayor of Gotham, and he's living in his Gotham Mansion place thing, and he's watching the news and how there's a back and forth between him and the mayoral candidates. And it seems nice at first. In fact, they give a few plot hints earlier, like that this black woman is going to be the next mayor of Gotham. Well, okay, that's not really that much of a hint, but like it establishes who this character is.
Well, not just establishes that she exists, but also they talk about how the renewal fund has apparently done nothing in 20 years. That becomes a much more important plot point.
Yeah, and how she's going to get rid of or restructure the renewal fund, and he's like against that.
Yeah.
Then we find out why it's important that he's against that much later in the film.
He's also mentions the Maroni drug bust, which I assume the reason it's pronounced Falcone now is because they didn't want to confuse Falcone and Maroni. I could have managed it, but okay, fine.
Yeah. And we see that this unknown individual has killed the mayor with a weird tool.
Yeah, that becomes important later.
Yeah. Although that just sets up a whole bunch of other questions and stuff for later on. Like,
yeah.
Okay, spoiler alert here. Although you're watching one of our reviews, you're gonna get spoiled anyway. Why do I bother? Anyways, later on, it's revealed that the reason that he used this tool is because he made a map of Gotham and put blinking lights under the floorboards in little holes all over the place to show the locations of where he's going to plant the bombs on the seawalls. Here's my question. How did the manager not hear the fact that he was apparently doing heavy construction in his room and drilling out holes in the floor?
Oh yeah, that was the mayor's room, wasn't it? Was it?
No, that was
back at his place?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. They found the tool back when they were looking at the cages of rats. Okay.
Like, okay, this is a lower class apartment.
So lower class apartment. Like, in that case, I can buy it that he bought somebody off or some crap,
With what money? Great.
How do you buy all those guns? He apparently's got,
Where does he get all those wonderful toys?
With all these 500 followers, it's like a upstart terrorist group. They pool their money a little bit. He didn't have anything too expensive. So yeah, he pays the guy $100 to, like, let me redo the floors or something. Okay, fine, whatever. But if you screw something up, throwing you out,
Okay, fine.
The question really is, why did he want to do that? Because that veers a little more into just, he needed to make a clue for Batman to find out the plan, so the plan would make sense to us, the audience.
When if they found the clue too early, then they would have stopped the bombs.
Yeah,
and then he would have been like, Actually, what was Riddler's plan at the end? He wants Batman there in the jail with him so they can watch the destruction together.
Yeah, he respects Batman, actually.
Yeah, but he's surprised that Batman hasn't figured out the clue, which is a surprise. Wait, because if Batman figured out the clue, then he would have sent out those guys, and the bombs would have been disarmed.
No, so he's assuming that Batman also hates the city. And wants to take on all the corruption, right?
Oh.
From Riddler's perspective, the whole city's corrupt. So he thinks Batman will find it and be like, what a great idea. And then he shows up, it doesn't tell anyone. And then he shows up at the prison. He's like, that's a great plan you had, Riddler. Good job, you know?
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the beginning and try to do this in sequential order.
Yeah.
And we see that this Batman has a very different way of interacting with the police thus far.
I mean, he walks into crime scenes with hundred witnesses. Yeah, that's new.
The whole scene is just almost every scene is almost supernaturally dark, but you know what? It's a more noir attitude. I'm fine with that. But like the cops are all visibly nervous around him. The people Batman saves are nervous around him. And there's the musical score is genius. It's very subtle and it doesn't overpower you at any point. Batman just checks out the crime scene and figures out some riddles.
Yeah, there's some tension. Gordon is not the commissioner. I guess he might be in the sequel. We're doing the whole Dark Knight trilogy thing. But he's got enough pull to be like, yes, let this vigilante through, please, guys. We gotta... Because the commissioner is his old partner, so he can get some favors that way, whatever. And yeah, Riddler is deliberately asking, sending messages to Batman. Again, because it apparently turns out he actually admires Batman and thinks we're on the same side and all this stuff, which is the one thing he totally didn't figure out. So figured, okay, the mayor is dead. Then the police chief, whoever the commissioner was, announces this terrible crime and we're pursuing every lead we've got. And the police chief goes down next. So it owes a lot. I remember you said to me early on, is this the Long Halloween? And it owes a lot to the Long Halloween and to the sequel Dark Knight Victory, which involved, spoiler alert, a lot of cops getting killed by this serial murderer hangman guy, including this one cop who was a day away from retirement. It was the most cliche part of that whole book. It's stop it! Don't give me the guy who's one day away from retirement. Come on. Otherwise, a good thing though. Good graphic novel. If you read Long Halloween first, though, it's
yeah. We see a kind of a subtle thing where it's clear that Alfred is Bruce's father figure, but Bruce kind of rejects that at first until he realizes, oh, he is my father figure later on. But it's handled much more subtly and better the way in the movie.
I just kept getting thrown for a loop that Alfred is not Michael Caine. I think Andy Serkis did a fine job, but Michael Caine so defined it for me. He's I don't know enough about the terms, but it's a different type of British accent. And I was always but you're supposed to sound like Michael Caine. That's fine though. I get it. So Riddler leaves his sick clues. He chopped off the mayor's thumb, and then leaves these ciphers behind that they have to figure out. Which, by the way, not Michael Caine has to be oh yes, I was just reliving my days in the circus while I'm decoding these things. And having read Jean Le Carre and the spy came in from the cold, and what was the other one I'm thinking? The first one with Carla. Anyway, that's the one I actually read. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. That's the one I read. Point is, I was familiar with circus being their term for the intelligence services, whereas most people would think, wait, how does Barnum and Bailey have anything to do with decoding things? And is this a reference to Robin somehow?
Actually, I thought that was a reference to Robin. And honestly, Alfred's done enough weird shit in his life that it is entirely believable that he once worked the trapeze.
I guess he has generally. If you get into his backstory at all, they generally portray him as a secret agent of some kind.
Right. He could have gone undercover in the circus.
The circus in the circus.
And also, to be fair, the Court of Owls used the circus to get to track down really, really aspiring circus performers and use them for assassins in the future.
Yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a thing.
Anyway, so they're decoding this bit, and they figure out the word drive, and they go to the mayor's, like, set of many cars. Jeez. And there's a freaking thumb drive in the freaking...
Okay, so... First and foremost, the mayor's thumb was cut off, and they find his thumb on the car, and it turns out that the mayor's... inside the car in a USB slot was a super-duper thumb drive that requires your fingerprints in order to activate. So they have to use the mayor's fingerprint from the thumb to access the files. Except that as soon as they did this, it sends out all of the information that's on the thumb drive to every major news organization and the FBI.
Yeah, my first thought there is, gee, what if they had practiced proper security and used an air-gapped computer? But, okay, I will assume that Riddler will just have emailed it himself if it didn't work out after a couple days.
Right.
So, yeah, and this is a movie I actually want to see again to, like, more properly track the several layers. Because you have a picture of the mayor with this girl, Annika, who he had apparently been beaten, or something, right? She had, like, a black eye, right?
I thought that was just, like, weird makeup.
No, but then Batman says to Selina a bit later, like, oh, he hurt her, that's why you killed him, right? Like, I assumed he was saying, like, this is...
Oh, I thought...
He was an abusive person behind the scenes, you know?
Oh, I thought that was a reference to how Annika seemed so freaked out when Batman saw her.
Yeah, that could... Yeah, so we gotta see it again. That's how they sell tickets.
So this picture has the mayor walking out of a sleazy bar with Annika, who is apparently like a prostitute / worker at this sleazy, super sleazy club for
the Iceberg Lounge. Yeah,
yeah, but it's like Club 44, which is inside the Iceberg Lounge.
44 below, which is like a reference to being really cold. Get it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the secret mob boss meeting place, mob hangout place, inside the overall Iceberg Lounge, which doesn't have a giant iceberg in it.
Yeah, dude, come on.
Normally it's depicted that way. It's very blue and everything to be like, look, water, ice, penguins. It's all a whole thing. And I get it. This is like much more realistic.
Yeah, but I always liked the Iceberg Lounge as more of like a classy, upscale.
It's true. That does seem to be
bar.
Penguin's shtick generally is pretending to be a legitimate businessman. And this is like still looks like a business. It is, but it's less classy, yeah. Like
you wouldn't take your date here. Well, I wouldn't take it.
I would.
I wouldn't just. I just wouldn't go.
We need
to
find dates first, but yeah,
like loud noises and flashing lights.
Right? I went to a place like that. It wasn't even half as bad as this, but it was like, wow, the music is so loud, I can't talk to anybody. I'm leaving in like 10 minutes.
Dude, I've been to actual strip clubs that were way worse than this.
Okay.
No, they were way better than this.
Way better than this, yeah.
Yeah, dude, if actual strip clubs are better than your place, stop doing what you're doing immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, everything is kind of dark because, this movie is allergic to having well-lit
This movie is
scenes.
physically dark in nearly every scene, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So it turns out that this woman, Annika, is in the same picture as the mayor and this other person who turns out to be the Penguin. And so Batman goes to the Iceberg Lounge and beats up a few people because,
Because they wouldn't let him in. So he starts beating people up. And then the Penguin just shows up with like, hey, can we just talk? Let's just talk. Hey, yeah, nice to meet you. And you're like, practical? Okay. So they meet. And by the way, I gotta mention this one awkward feeling I had from all the combats. Batman does a lot of slow walking when he enters a scene, which is intimidating, I guess. And then he does a lot of staying on the ground as he fights people, and not a whole lot of grapple fighting and jumping behind things and all that. Which I appreciate the more agile Batman. Like, he moves like a bat. He's everywhere. Where are you? Remember from Batman Begins, right? Here.
Yeah.
And part of the reason I appreciate that, A, it looks cool and feels cool, but B, it answers the question of why nobody shoots him in the chin. Right? Because there are bits in this movie where someone has a shotgun and they aim it, like, at his chest, and he, like, survives it because it's bulletproof. I'm like, his chin is right there! You are right! So you want to do Batman, you want to make it that no one ever has enough of a beat on him that they could choose to aim at the chin if they wanted to, right?
Yeah.
That's how I would do it. So it felt a little awkward every time someone had a gun and he's got this obvious target and they...
Yeah, okay. Well, obviously, Penguin doesn't give up much information.
But Selena walks in. We don't know it's Selena at first, because by the way, lots of racial diversity now, so that's cool.
Selena looks not white. I'm sorry, I'm not good at... Like, if they're white or they're black, I can tell them. But I am very hesitant to try to identify different races that are not white or black. Just...
People get ambiguous sometimes.
Zoe Kravitz.
We're looking at the actual actress now.
Let's see. Actor, musician.
It's not actually saying anything very definitive yet. I'm not going to go through her whole history. But, yeah.
Oh, she was the voice of Mary Jane Watson in Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're going to go...
Oh, she was also Catwoman in the Lego Batman movie.
Oh, really? Wow.
Okay, that's funny.
Anyway.
Anyways, so, yeah, we find her, but Batman, tracks her back to her place and naturally watches her change into her cat outfit. Because, we have to have some sex appeal.
But the point is, at her place, she's got Annika, who's a friend. This is a little ambiguous to me because she calls her babe repeatedly. So I thought it was like, oh, Catwoman is bi, and we're doing a thing there. But then she describes it as a friend to Batman, and I don't know which way that's meant to be taken. Maybe it's supposed to be ambiguous.
Yeah, I personally thought Annika was like a stray that she'd taken in.
I mean, yes. I thought maybe they started dating after they took her in or something like that.
Yeah, true. Even the TV tropes page is it's not sure if it's
Did you look at the TV tropes page on the way back from the theater somehow?
No, I
or
looked at
in
it in
advance? You don't spoil yourself with these things.
I looked at it in the bathroom.
Okay.
Hey, I wanted to know... I wasn't going while I was looking at it.
Okay, anyway. Ambiguous, whatever. The point is she cares about Annika in whatever capacity. Annika is freaking out because her picture's all over the news now, and people know that she's connected with the mayor and crime and something or other, and whatever. But she can't get out of the country because Falcone stole her passport.
Mm-hmm.
So Catwoman does her cat burglary and gets back... Wait a minute, was this Falcone's place or the mayor's place again?
I think it was the mayor's place.
The mayor's place again, yeah. The mayor had taken her passport, but
Yeah.
Falcone's involved. So she gets the thing. Batman confronts her. They fight for a while. This is me being picky again, but hey, it's us. It was a pretty cool fight scene, but in order to get to a spot in which they're able to talk, they have to do this awkward bit of, okay, I've subdued you enough in which you can't fight anymore, but not so much that I've knocked you out. Because typically, if you got two martial artists going at it like this, and no one's going to break a bone, let's assume, you're going to be either you've fled or I have actually knocked you out. I would guess. I don't know. I have this impression, right? Or at least bloodied you, right? And we can't get blood on everybody's perfect face in this movie. Not even when a bomb goes off in Batman's actual face. But we'll get to that later. They really should have had some blood coming off his cheek or something. A little bit.
Nose,
Come on, something. But no, his face is too perfect. Okay, fine. Point is, they fight a bit, and then it's wait, shut up for a second. Let's talk. I can actually help you. He thought maybe she was the killer, but she's not. Let's go talk to Annika. So they go
back to Selena's place, and oh no, someone in the 5 minutes that they've been gone, Annika has been kidnapped.
Yeah, what timing, come to think of it. Yeah,
yeah, there's a lot of convenient timing in this film, but which it still works. It's a good film, but at the same time,
yeah, and then she mentions, they took stuff, they took my phone and everything. That becomes important later. Another tiny bit. She's still holding her bag and walking as she goes in to be like, Annika, are you here? I would have had her drop the bag and run. Especially martial artist, you can move when you need to, right?
Well, you can throw the bag at people.
Well, yeah, that's true. But, okay, anyway, she's not here, freaking out. What's going on?
Turns out Batman is kind of a jackass.
Yeah, I mean, they have some talk. Is this at this point they have this talk?
Maybe it's later. I don't
know.
There's not a whole lot of visual indicators to indicate the passage of time.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the scenes take place either at night or in early evening or early morning. So everywhere outside is black. Or it's thunderstorming, and thus it's still black.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, okay, apparently, while they were there, the commissioner of police has been murdered by the Riddler, who decided to strap a cage full of starving rats to the mayor while putting another cage connected to the first cage on the mayor's head.
Where the rats can climb in and eat him or
something. Just... I don't know, that just seems like a lot... Maybe I'm lazy, but that seems like a lot of effort. Yeah. Just, why don't you just, you have a gun. You have several guns.
But this is him deliberately trying to be theatrical. And he's in a safe location. It's not like he's in a rush, right? So, that makes sense to me, that this crazy guy would do this in the craziest, most memorable way possible.
Right?
On social media and everything. That's what he's up going for.
Right, but okay, he builds a maze for the rats and then writes a message in, glow-in-the-dark ink in the rat maze.
Yeah, that part's getting a little up there, I'll give you.
Okay. Hang on. The next phase of my plan. You gotta wonder, at what point in your plan, when you're busy writing in glow-in-the-dark ink along a rat labyrinth that you plan to use to murder someone, do you realize, this seems needlessly complex?
Yeah. But, okay. So it's something, the concept of rat is important, and Batman ends up sending in Selina to the Iceberg Lounge this is a little unclear to me if she's meant to be in disguise, because she, puts on a wig, right? With, a very bright color.
Well, granted, later she puts on a different wig with an equally bright color.
And she's recognized by her, spoiler alert, father both times. I guess that's just her habit. She puts on wigs of different colors.
Yeah, but, maybe she does it for people who aren't her father.
Yeah, some people would not recognize her. Anyway, she gets in there. She's got, a hidden camera thing. And Batman's trying to coach her through getting guys to talk. And the freaking DA is there. And it's not Harvey Dent. But that's fine.
It's okay. He'll be there in the sequel, because I believe in Harvey Dent.
Yeah. That's a line.
Oh, yeah. But weirdly enough, the DA seems really nervous about all... Okay, I guess it's not...
It's not weird at all. 2 people are dead. And also, he's on drugs at this very moment.
Okay, well, I don't mean weird as in... it's different sort of weird than I'm fearing for my life. It's awkward kid going to a strip club for the first time weird.
Yeah, yes.
It feels odd that he's like this. So maybe, I don't know, maybe this is his first time frequenting the club. But
or maybe he's just always been awkward. He's never quite gotten over it yet.
Okay. But he has a wife and kids.
That's what makes him awkward.
Okay, fine.
He's got enough of a conscience to be I really shouldn't be here, but I kind of want to earn him around. He's in that weird state,
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I can appreciate the contrast between him, because there's so many villainous characters around here. Let's see some different shades of villainy, and this is that kind of awkward guy. You ever see District 9?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well...
It was on the list, and then I kind of forgot the list.
So there's some things I've changed about the movie, but I love at the beginning that we establish our main character as this incredibly, dorky McDork who's also doing horrible, evil shit because his boss tells him to, essentially. So, okay, I guess this is what we're doing. Burn down this house or whatever. You're oh my god, that's a new flavor of evil. Anyway, so yeah, we get a bit of information. Selina goes after this one woman who apparently knew Annika. We never get anything out of her. That just leads to her talking to Falcone. Batman's wait, are you in a relationship with him or something? And she's screw you, and tears off the camera from her eye. It's a contact lens thing, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
They did kind of an interesting balance of Batman having gadgets, but not too many. He rides a motorcycle most of the time when he's traveling. It's more efficient. You're yeah.
So then Selina says, screw you, Batman, and takes out the contact, and then he's kind of back to square one.
And
oh shit! What actually happens next?
what happens next is she leaves and tries to hail a cab, and the awkward DA guy's like, "Hey, can I drive you?"
Oh,
She's
right.
like, "Taxi, please." And then he gets in the car, and Riddler's right behind him, and totally waits an extra minute so that he can notice like the headrest has been removed, like just to amp up that horror vibe, you know.
Yeah, and then Riddler smashes the DA guy in the head a couple times, and then in really blurry vision, he straps a bomb to this guy's neck, and well, you find out eventually, because the next thing we see, Bruce is talking to Alfred and like going over conversations and such with Selina. And it turns out that Bruce is actually going out for once to the mayor's funeral.
Yeah, that was an
memorial
interesting
service.
little bit of dialogue, by the way, because he's looking at the pictures of Selina, because it's Selina looking in the mirror. And Alfred says, "Should I take this as a good sign?" Which I thought he meant, "Do you finally get a girlfriend?"
Well, to be fair, you know,
it might help him.
Bruce doing anything a normal human would do
Yeah.
is one of those things that you need.
Anyway, the sign actually was Bruce. He's dressed up normal and not wearing eyeshadow or whatever you call it when there's really black all around your eyes, which is a thing it turns out you would need when wearing a Batman mask. Someone pointed out to me, to like in case the mask shifts a couple centimeters, you don't see like the guy's skin and it doesn't look. Anyway,
Yeah. Also, Alfred gives Bruce his Wayne cufflinks because Bruce can't find his, which is another sign that he considers him to be like the son he never had.
yeah,
Which gets expanded on later. But so Bruce goes to the funeral service, and he sees Falcone arrive, and Falcone tells him a story of your father saved my life, operated right on the dining room table. I'm surprised you don't remember that because you were at the top of the stairs watching me.
I think he did remember, just didn't bring it up first. Was the idea, but
Oh, okay.
it'd be
Anyway.
hard not to remember. And then my dad operated on a man right in the dining room table, and I was right there, and I was like, what, 8 at most?
There's, really? In front of my salad? Okay. So, anyways, then the memorial starts and the mayor-elect goes in. Well, okay, she's not the mayor-elect, but
She's a candidate, yeah.
technically she's the candidate.
Bella Rio, her name is.
But at the same time, the last guy is currently sitting in the morgue. So
who
actually,
you gonna
no.
vote for?
I'm sorry. Her only major opponent was sitting 20 feet in front of her in a box.
Yes.
He was wondering what he was doing in that box. Hello, I am the box man. Vote for me.
Jeez,
I don't know what that accent is or why that guy has that accent.
I feel like it's a reference to something you don't even know what it is. Anyway.
Yeah. So she says, you need to start doing stuff for the city. Your parents were really good with that. And that's part of Bruce's character arc over the course of this movie. But, we'll get to that when we get to that. Or we'll forget about it and then, whatever.
So Ave Maria plays for the second time in this movie.
Yeah, Ave Maria is kind of the Riddler's
which
theme.
becomes like the third thing. And then, is there no one named Maria? Because at the end, we do see Selina Kyle, like, at her mother's grave, and it's Maria.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, but you're not actually connected to the Riddler, per se. So, but we made a whole deal of Ave Maria. So, that was one thing that didn't quite add up the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, there should be a big reveal. Oh, it was Ave Maria the whole time, therefore. And something.
Yeah, but anyways, then the DA's car smashes through the whole thing and smashes everything before crashing into the vestibule. And the DA comes out and he's got a bomb collar and a cell phone taped to his hand. And this is another part where I have to wonder, what the fuck was the Riddler thinking? Sorry. Because, the whole scene, he's like, I'm terrified and my mouth is taped shut and he's holding up the Riddler's phone and it's the middle of the day and the next thing we see, it's night and the bomb squad is coming in. And I'm like, how long did it take you guys to A, get the bomb squad and B, set all of this up? How long was the Riddler on the phone?
He's just got an auto dialer running or something. Right?
Yeah, it's just. What if he had answered while he was on the toilet? Okay, they would just see his ceiling. That's not very dramatic.
Yeah.
Oh, and apparently he was also live streaming this on Twitch because, of course, he was.
Yeah, there are people leaving comments in the side and everything.
Yeah, so anyways, the Riddler makes the guy confess that I was a corrupt judge and
Corrupt DA, right?
Corrupt DA, and I sold cases out because I am super duper corrupt for
$10,000 a month to not prosecute certain cases. And he's like, who do you not prosecute? He's like, I can't tell you that. They'll like kill my family and everything. And Batman is like right in his face, like asking, we need to know who this rat is. You know, this is apparently the key to the whole city or the whole corruption scheme.
Except it's not. Well, it sort of is.
It kind of is. Yeah, we'll get to that. My point is that Batman is in the guy's face when the bomb with a visible timer is like counting down to 0. And I thought they were going to do something where he like somehow disables the bomb at the last second. Or maybe even the DA like pushes Batman away to be like, I'll die, but I don't want you to die too. You know, a little act of kindness at his last moments. Instead, Batman is at like a foot away from the bomb.
He's at ground zero of this bomb's explosion. And the next time he
blows him across the room.
And the next time he wakes up, he's in police HQ.
Surrounded by cops, and with not a scratch on him, not even his completely unguarded chin.
Yeah, okay, that's kind of bullshit. First off, that they wouldn't take him to the cop. No, okay, not the cops, the hospital.
Yeah, and just keep him under guard there. And while you're at it, you would totally take the mask off to, like, check for signs of injury or something, I imagine. If if it's possible to take the mask off, I don't know, maybe it's locked in.
Mm-hmm. At which point, Batman proceeds to antagonize... The cops antagonize Batman. Batman antagonizes the cops. Batman recognizes a few of them from Selina's video of inside Club Negative 42 or under 42, 40 below, whatever.
44 below?
Yeah, something like that. And goes, yeah, I can't trust these guys. If I stay here, I'm going to end up dead or whatever. And so he and Jim create a quick plan. Jim creates a quick plan, and then Batman escapes and flees using a squirrel suit.
The one in the Dark Knight trilogy was way cooler.
It was. It really was.
It unfolded to a proper, like,
bat.
Glider thing that looks more like a bat. They try to do some bits of, like, all right, we're going to see it from Batman's perspective, like plummeting to the ground and whatever. And especially the bit where he crashes felt a little too cartoonish. I know they're trying to go for, like, reality ensues. It's actually really hard to do this, but he bumped into like 4 things in quick succession. And
then we never refer to those injuries again.
No, yeah. It would kind of be neat to see a movie where Batman is... Because the whole thing takes place in a week. They make that explicit. So Batman accumulates injuries over the course of the thing, and we see him like, putting his arm in ice later on or something, and by the climax you're like, wow, he's on his last legs, and how much more can he take? And he's a little too invincible, especially with the bomb in your face.
Yeah, he's a little invincible.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a weird scene later on that is...
I mean, freaking Batman Begins had him have bruises on his back at one point, right? Those will be the first of many injuries. We watched that, they made a reference to the fact this is physically painful.
When Dark Knight Rises, his knees were destroyed.
Yeah.
He had to have,
They gave him a knee brace, which, granted, works magically for the rest of the movie, but at least they mentioned it.
Yeah. So,
Anyway, so he escapes, and thankfully nobody blames Gordon for all that. And now he's getting away, and the next bit was Selina tracking down Annika, right? Or tracking down this... I don't know if she was tracking Annika, actually. She was tracking, this money that Falcone is transferring to buy drugs. And she figures he owes me that money because turns out he's her deadbeat dad. Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, there's a whole rat with wings thing clue that's Batman's pursuing, and he thinks that might be the Penguin. So this leads him, good timing again, to be there exactly as Selina's doing her own independent thing.
Yeah, also, there's this cop who's on the force, but he's dirty, and he's carrying the money and the body of Annika, who is dead, by the way. What, were you thinking, I'll get 2 birds with 1 stone,
It's a good point.
Carrying a body and carrying drugs are 2 things you do not mix up.
I mean, or just... You don't leave a body in the trunk indefinitely. You killed her yesterday, right? At
right,
least. So you
couldn't you have taken her to the river and thrown her in or something?
Yeah.
Look,
Come to
what
think
I'm
of it, that
saying
was
is
a really big coincidence.
there was a MythBusters episode where they proved that if you put a dead body in a car, it will stink. They used a pig. They used a pig. I will grant you, Adam and Jamie would be the type to find an actual corpse. Oh, no, okay, Jamie would be the type to find an actual corpse. Adam would not, but okay. But they proved that your car will stink.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this car has both the drug money and a corpse. And Catwoman just finds them.
It would be interesting to have seen this whole thing as a Netflix series or something.
Yeah.
Give it a whole season, build out more characters, find the body at the bottom of the river, or testimony from somebody who was there and did the deed, and concrete shoes and all that stuff, cement shoes.
But even though it is super convenient, it is also, it's tight and it works.
Yeah, I can see both approaches.
Yeah, it's after that is a car chase scene where the Penguin tries to get away from Batman, who's driving the Batmobile.
Yeah, he's upgraded,
and I gotta say, it's a pretty good car
cool
chase.
Thing. He's chasing him the wrong way down the highway, which I'm pretty sure all these cars would be approaching you faster than they appear to be approaching on camera. Mm-hmm. They look a little like they're driving at 30 miles an hour, and they should be 120 because it's 60 this way and 60 the other way. Oh, so good luck dodging anything.
Yeah.
Right? You are going to have a pileup very quickly, sir.
Yeah. And Batman finds the Penguin, and he manages to confront him, and the Penguin actually gives one of the few funny scenes in the entire movie, where they confront him about the rat with wings line in Spanish. They're like, "Are you guys stupid? It's El."
No, it's La Rata, not El Rata. So why is it going with this? Guy doesn't know Spanish? He doesn't know his El Rata? It should be El Rata. It should be La. What is it? So this is an interesting case of, normally you sweat the perp and he confesses that he did something. And this time you sweat the perp and he's like, "You fucking idiots, you took the clue the wrong direction. I speak Spanish, just so you know." And you're like, oh.
In this case, Penguin was actually innocent.
Yeah.
I mean, of the thing
he totally deals drugs, but he wasn't guilty of this individual thing.
This specific thing he's actually innocent of. So they leave him there, he's screaming, calling them sons of bitches, because they handcuffed him and tied his legs together. Yeah. So he's just waddling away.
Like a penguin, which I just realized now. Yeah. Okay, that was funny. If you take, it was URL Rata, and no, literally URL,
URL.
Yeah, they had that on the screen. So he goes on the internet and goes to larata.com, which I assume the producers actually have that website, so that somebody else doesn't just take it. That'd be a nice little, gag or whatever. So they goes to the thing, and he's chatting with Riddler now all of a sudden.
Yeah, and conveniently, Riddler happens to be sitting at his computer and doing this, and not doing anything else. I'm just picturing him staring at this screen, waiting for someone to do something.
Yeah.
Because, what is it, 3 in the morning that they're having this conversation? So Riddler had to have been okay, I have been awake for 32 hours on the off chance that Batman will magically manage to find this one URL.
Yeah. Do you think anyone else just stumbled on that URL from a typo? And they're he just types in hello, and they're like, "Hey, is this a chat site? Because I was looking for this." They just talk about nothing for 20 minutes. You're not Batman, are you?
Okay, so eventually it turns out that the next target of the Riddler is Bruce Wayne! Dun dun. No, wait, no. Darn, I skipped ahead. Okay, but they figured out that,
something to do with an orphanage, right?
Right, and they go to the one orphanage.
In Gotham, I guess.
Yeah, which, considering Gotham is typically depicted as having 12 million people, it's little odd that this is the only orphanage.
Was it supposed to be some particular reference to the seed and the something or other that's somehow singled out this individual orphanage? I don't know. If it was named something along those lines, it would have worked. But okay.
Yeah, I missed it. Okay, so they go to this orphanage, and
Riddler has graffitied, welcome, and arrow signs pointing upwards.
Mm.
Where, coincidence of coincidences, this projector is set up, and it's playing, Thomas Wayne's campaign stuff there. Although, interestingly, none of, the text in the thing has changed. Okay,
You mean the Chiron at the bottom? Is that called a Chiron? Chiron?
The user interface stuff. I don't know what
Oh, I
it's called.
see. The style of the news broadcast has not changed in 20 years. You're right. That's flawed.
Yeah.
20 years ago, they would do it differently.
Yeah. Also, I don't think they would... When? No, wait, that was around 9/11, so never mind.
As of 9/11, they had a thing at the bottom all the time, just in case.
Yeah. But yeah, they didn't change it in 20 years, and it looks exactly as crisp as modern stuff.
Yeah.
There's no fuzziness or video compression or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, Batman realizes, oh shit, Bruce Wayne, so that means Alfred's in danger. And we get these shots of Alfred opening up a package to Bruce Wayne, and
blows up in his face, and he at least gets a scratch from it.
He winds up in the hospital.
Yeah, that's what happens when a bomb goes off in your face. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's 10 feet away from exploding C4 charge, and he goes to the hospital.
Uh-huh.
But Bruce Wayne gets it in the face, and he's just fucking fine, because of course he is.
I'll grant you that he's at the peak of physical perfection, but this is a bomb. You're not bulletproof. You're not Superman. Anyway. So yeah, I like the way they played that drama. They have a phone ringing, and they make you think that maybe Alfred will go pick up the phone at the last minute, and then actually, this whole thing is an hour later. We were splicing it, and there's, what do you know? Someone else also works at this mansion.
No, they established that earlier.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, that woman did show up earlier to say that the accountants were at the mansion and they were ready to have breakfast with Bruce.
Oh, well, I missed that. Anyway, it's still pretty new for anyone to work at a mansion other than Alfred in a Batman story. Normally it's the whole damn place is just the two of them.
Well, there's Aunt Harriet. She was in the original, the Adam West Batman show.
I do not know much about that show, but okay.
Okay, yeah.
There is one example.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, yeah, he got hit. We looked like he might have just died right there, which would have been pretty cool, but no, we gotta save him for the sequels. Okay, fine. So, yeah, he gets, the latest clue, whatever it was. I'm trying to remember all these individual riddles. But, stuff gets released to the media at this point, actually, right? And he just tells everybody, okay, so Martha Wayne had a traumatic childhood, and that her mother murdered her father and then committed suicide, I think it was.
Yeah, and then Martha was committed to a mental institution for a couple years.
I think she was repeatedly in and out.
Yeah, which, it's so weird. It's completely unnatural that, a member of the Wayne family is shown to have mental illness. I mean, Bruce is completely well-adjusted.
Of course.
No, but this seriously does explain a little bit, My parents were murdered. The only solution, dress as a bat!
Maybe. Anyway, sympathy for Martha, of course. And
yeah, sympathy, obviously,
yeah.
but...
According to Riddler, what happened next was that this was about to be exposed in the press, and Thomas didn't want it to affect his election campaign, so he arranged for Falcone to murder the reporter, strongly implied to be Riddler's dad, I thought, anyway.
No. It wasn't. It was Elliot. The reporter was Elliot.
Okay, could that not be Edward's dad, for all we know?
Thomas Elliot has a son. His son is Hush.
Wait. So, the Elliot family from the Hush story...
I don't know. I thought it was
here?
the Elliots, but okay, maybe they're setting it up for a future thing. My father died because of you, Bruce, or something.
Yeah, no, I thought that was the idea. I thought there was a family resemblance when we finally find the Riddler. I was like, oh, that looks like that guy. That makes sense.
Well, then maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. Because it would totally just make it such a parallel. I lost my parents, and we know Riddler's an orphan somehow or other, so that could be how he became an orphan. It would tie in together. Maybe they should have said it a little more explicitly, though.
No, wait, he was already in the orphanage when Thomas Wayne made the announcement of the Gotham Renewal Project.
You're right, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who the frick was it? Maybe just really pissed off this reporter died. I don't know. Could have been a
I think he was
friend
just
of the
pissed off
family,
at like
yeah.
the secrets.
Just
and stuff.
corruption. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Naturally, Bruce is appalled and shocked, and he goes to see Alfred, who's in the hospital.
Goes to see Falcone first.
Oh, yeah.
Actually. As Bruce Wayne. They do this little motif. First he shows up at the door as Batman, and like, we're not letting you in. They beat the crap out of him. Then he shows up at the same door as Bruce Wayne. They're like, oh, wow. Oh, okay, sure. Bruce Wayne, come on in. Welcome to the club. You're a rich guy. And then the third time he just sneaks in with nobody seeing him. Yeah. Anyway, he talks to Falcone, and Falcone's like, oh, yeah, your father wanted me to put the fear of God into this journalist, so I just murdered him. Then Alfred later clarifies, well, he didn't know that Falcone was going to take it that far. He should have known, but he was distraught at the time. He wanted to protect Martha's personal life from, yellow journalism or whatever.
So what I'm hearing is that what Thomas Wayne wanted was save Martha!
Yes. Don't bring in that terrible movie. That terrible movie. There's a reason I still haven't seen Justice League.
Yeah, because the prequel to that's...
Gosh. You're just so... Like, they're trying to be profound with that line. I'm like, you did not set that up at all to work.
Yep.
It just sounds completely stupid.
Yep.
Okay, back at a better film.
Yeah, so apparently...
So Bruce has to grapple with the notion that his dad was a good man overall, but like...
He fucked up this one time.
Yeah, and was willing to go to the cops about it, but then got murdered that same night. So you're saying Falcone killed my parents? Well, like, quite possibly, but we can't say for sure.
Yeah, they keep it vague. It's implied, but it could be Maroni, could be Falcone.
Could be a random mug, it could be a Joe Chill, just unrelated to anything type of deal.
Yeah, although, honestly, I'm kind of confused, because he was murdered that night, and I thought that the night that the Waynes were murdered, they were taking Bruce to see either a film or an opera.
I don't think that's canon in this movie.
0 out of 10.
Yeah, right?
Worst film ever.
Right.
I did not see a scene of pearls scattering on the rain.
Yeah. But it's not even clear if Bruce was physically present at the death. Like, you want that. That's important for story. Like, he saw it happen. He was really traumatized by the experience. But it may have been that Thomas, and I guess also Martha, went out to go see the cops and just got shot, like, in their car on the way there or something. Which is realistic for this hit idea, but also just throws the story beat just a little bit off.
Maybe not. I don't know. I kind of like it changed up a little bit.
Yeah.
It implies a history so that it's not necessarily like, oh, suddenly every villain is connected to the death of your parents.
Yeah.
Rock and roll is not connected to the death of your parents. Or how in Spider-Man 3, it's like Sandman was there when Uncle Ben was shot.
Yeah.
But we're only just telling you this now.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I kind of like it that it's anonymous. Like, it's implied it could be one way or the other, but it could also be just no one.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to think that Joe Chill did not exist the night before Thomas and Martha were murdered, and then he ceases to exist the night after. Just he exists, and he murders them, and then he ceases to exist. He is crime anonymous.
Yeah.
He's
I see what you mean. Yeah.
The spirit of Gotham created its own protector.
Yeah. Create enough hunger, and everyone becomes a criminal.
Mm-hmm. But anyways.
What were we saying? So he has to grapple with this whole history and everything. And then he talks to Selina, who mentions that Falcone is her father, and hey, help me get revengeance on him for killing Annika.
And here's where Batman kind of makes a comment implying that Annika got what was coming to her.
This is ambiguously phrased. I think what he actually said was she didn't know what she was getting into. Why is that? Looks at Selina. You should have warned her about the criminal element before she got in too deep. I think was the idea.
Maybe. I took it as he's out of touch with the normal people and he's so focused on the mission that there's
that he doesn't realize that heroes have to be more than just symbols of vengeance.
I think they're getting to that in either version of this. Like Bruce don't have to be so cold about it. Anyway, that all happens, and then she runs off
to go find the person.
Now, wait a minute. There's like 2 scenes here. He talks to her once, and she's like, Falcone's my dad. And then separately, she goes and gets that one crooked cop, and then who has the phone, and then she like unlocks and gets the message, and Jim Gordon is there. I think something may have happened in the meantime.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Whatever. Point is, we got like absolute proof that Falcone personally had Annika killed, because he was there in the room, and Annika is smart enough to call Selina and like leave a message of her getting murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And so the message is, come to think of it though, they took my phone. So when she dialed the phone, it must have been ringing in the other room. I guess on silent mode.
Maybe it rang until it went to voicemail.
Yeah.
Because this was apparently not a Riddler phone that is able to ring indefinitely.
Yeah. So yeah, he's like, okay, so they told you about the deal, right? I guess she'd heard about how Falcone was very important to the crime, which I think everyone knows that anyway, but like not more specifically, I suppose.
Yeah.
At least I know Falcone is a criminal. Maybe the rest of Gotham thinks he's an upstanding citizen, but
Yeah. Anyways, Selina tries to kill the crooked cop, but fails, and she runs off to go murder Falcone. Somehow Bruce gets there before her, turns off the power, manages to beat up a whole bunch of guys in an admittedly beautifully choreographed fight scene where the goons attempt to unload about 50,000 bullets into Batman, and it's very like strobe lighty effect.
That was a neat idea. Yeah,
yes, it was
the only light was the muzzle flash for like a good minute or something, and just bum 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 bum. Yeah,
which very cool looking, and I very much appreciated that. It was a very good scene. I mean, mind you, it still kind of takes away from the fact that they're basically shooting Batman and it's doing no damage. This goes back to the Batman is invincible thing.
Yeah, I gotta go for invisible to make like a reason for him to be effectively invincible,
Yeah, I mean, if this was a Batman inspired by Iron Man, that would be kind of cool, like the Iron Bat.
Yeah, jeez, that's a crossover to do at some point.
Yeah, like what if Bruce Wayne created the Iron Man suit? What if Tony Stark was inspired by a bat?
I like to see Tony Stark being like focused enough to pull that off and make it look cool.
Yeah,
because he's gonna be in the bat suit and like make some quip, and suddenly it seems stupid, right? Like Batman can't quip Tony Stark style. He's got to be all gritty,
Yeah, that's true. But anyways, Batman manages to not kill anyone and get Selina to not kill anyone, and Falcone is brought outside, and while the fight's going, before the fight starts, it's revealed that, by the way, Selina's message was sent out by Gordon earlier, and now the major news organizations have proof that Falcone murdered someone. And so as soon as Falcone walks out, he's like, dude, I run this city. I was the rat the whole time. Because it turns out that the renewal thing was the big ticket. As soon as Wayne died, then everyone tried to get their hands on it, from the mayor to the DA to the cops.
And Falcone ends up being the top dog. He uses this money to pay off everybody, and then gets them to take down his rival, Maroni. And they got to look good in the press, but like actually they just took off one mob boss and gave more power to a different mob boss,
Mm-hmm.
So okay, now this all kind of makes sense. What the heck the Riddler was talking about, what he was pissed off about this whole time.
Yeah, so it turns out that the rat wasn't really...
He wasn't a rat in the typical sense, he was a mob boss.
Yeah, but the implication was as soon as they find the rat, that's going to light the powder keg for the city. But that really wasn't what happened.
Well, it's like now everyone knows that all of their leaders are corrupt. I guess they kind of knew already that the mayor was up to some shady business from those pictures, and other things had been revealed. But this was like, the mayor had been truly in the pocket of big crime, officially this whole time.
Right, but we don't see any evidence that this causes like a powder keg to ignite.
The closest thing to a powder keg we get is completely unrelated to that, and it comes later in the film, and almost feels superfluous.
Yeah, there is a structural problem here. You would love to see a thing in which the common people... you don't typically get enough of the common people in these stories. You get heroes, the villains, and everyone else is just backdrop, But imagine if we're really dialed into the psyche of Gotham and seeing more and more that people are frustrated and people are starting to just go nuts. Like, it's going beyond regular protests. It's becoming riots and everything. And the powder keg goes off, and it's just like Gotham-wide rioting, and stuff is burning, and everyone is freaking the hell out. Kind of like what they did with the poison in Batman Begins, but much more organic, right? Like, people
or what they tried to do in the Joker movie.
I didn't see it yet. I missed that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like make us feel that, wow, the soul of Gotham has really been lost here, and people have no hope anymore. And then play it into Batman somehow becomes the guy that gives them hope and gets, like, people to stand down and not kill each other so much. Some people are irredeemable, but other people, they're just stressed out, and don't worry, we can rally around this one figure, type of thing.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't quite go as it should.
Because what happens next is, as Falcone is going like, hey, guess what? I'm untouchable, even though there's all these cops who are here to arrest me. I got plenty of supporters who are going to bust me out. I'll be out by tomorrow. La 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 la. It looks like Penguin's going to shoot the guy, but as soon as he starts pulling out his gun, Falcone is shot from a sniper bullet. And the sniper bullets came not from... I gave it away already. It's not the Penguin. It's the Riddler who shot a guy from his room up there. And it turns out that someone saw the Riddler, and he went down to this corner cafe and is drinking a latte. And he managed to make, foam art in the coffee so it looks like his question mark symbol. Because I guess, he planned for that.
He probably set that up in advance or something,
Yeah.
Yeah, now... Okay. So I gotta dial into this a bit, because I'm thinking of it. Riddler has this epic plan to team up with Batman, he thinks, to eventually expose Falcone in such a way that he can shoot him. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Could have shot him any other time.
Yeah, he spent all this time setting things up.
Falcone leaves the building once in a while, yeah? At any moment when he leaves the building, just shoot him. He's there. He shows up publicly at the funeral. You could have shot him there.
Yes? Okay, but...
So, it would have been cooler if Falcone is because some mob bosses do this. They spend all their time in bulletproof rooms and bulletproof cars and stuff, right? Because they've got rivals. And so, people could mention it as a plot point. Oh, Falcone, he's untouchable. Even the other mob bosses can't get him because he takes all these security precautions. And this whole thing is an elaborate plot to, undo the vaults, metaphorically, and get the guy out just 5 feet so he can finally get a bullet in his head.
Yeah, but okay, that's where his plot kind of breaks down a bit, because it turns out that that's not even the end of Riddler's plan. Once he's shot Falcone, he wants to blow up the seawall that's keeping Gotham from being flooded, which it was set up earlier that the seawall was a thing and keeping Gotham from, going underwater. But how does this connect to the Gotham renewal plan, which is the main impetus for you getting revenge? If you want to generalize revenge on Gotham, there are plenty of ways you could do it that wouldn't involve murdering these specific people.
I mean, I can weld it together as he has the most hatred for these people, and once he's exposed and killed them all, then he's now you can see that Gotham is beyond saving. League of Shadows. And therefore, screw everything, right? But yeah, it does feel a little odd. This is a deal where there's supposed to be a villain we can kind of sympathize with, but he takes it too far, right? Mm-hmm. And the specific moment where he takes it too far is where he assumes that Bella Real is likewise corrupt. And, she deserves to die. And so does fucking everybody while we're at it. But in terms of individual people, it's the other candidate for mayor, right? It had been nice to have traced his thinking on that, where, there's some piece of evidence that makes him think she's also corrupt, but he's misinterpreted it. This is the one part where the genius has turned to madness. And Batman can understand, no, wait, he has it all wrong, and the Riddler, like, doesn't believe him or whatever, right?
Yeah, okay. But even this, he's kind of planned out in a smart way. Like, he has... he provides the murder weapon from the beginning of the movie, and it turns out that it's a thing that you use to get up carpet. And there's carpet in the Riddler's room, and underneath the carpet there's a map of Gotham with blinking lights that show where he's put all the bombs that will destroy the seawall. And as Batman sees this, it is like the exact same... There's a line written on there. And as Batman enters that line into Riddler's last video, which is on his Twitter account... the bombs go off at exactly the right time.
Amazing timing, yeah.
Yeah, and it turns out that this has been available to all of his followers who decided, okay, we're going to follow his last plan, which means that all of Gotham is going to evacuate to this one stadium where the mayoral thing is going down. And then we're going to rappel down from the ceiling and murder everyone.
Yeah, it was unclear to me exactly how many people they plan to murder, actually.
Yeah, I don't...
know they hate the mayor, but then, like... everyone? You want to kill everyone? Because if so, they should have brought more explosives. That was a little odd. They have guns.
Yeah, they have, like, maybe, like, a couple hundred rounds of ammo with them. Yeah. There's... One of those can hold, like, 30,000 people. I get it, it's horrific, but, like, what is your end goal here? This feels more like a Joker plan.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, there's a bit at the end.
Okay, yeah, there's that bit at the end, but Joker wasn't the one who was
No,
making the
I mean,
plans.
what I mean is, like, that's how they managed to become friends in this version is that they have a similar type of thinking. But, yeah, you want the Riddler to be a little more focused in this when he's got such a track record of winning throughout this movie. He's killing off all the people he thinks need to be killed.
Yeah, the problem I have with this end scene is just that it's not focused. It's just general chaos and mayhem. Chaos and mayhem and anarchy. It's not like... You think he's going after this specific list of people. And then it turns out, no, I want to kill everybody, but that's not the serial killer that we've been following this whole movie.
Yeah, you've seen, the frick is that movie called? Seven.
No.
Oh, well, I won't spoil it then. But there's a more focused serial killer in that one. It goes right to the end with, like, oh, this is completely on theme for his thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess that last bit also has nothing to do with the sense of a riddle. Or the uncovering of a secret.
Which is kind of also...
Which has always been his thing. In every step of the game is, I'm revealing the truth. There'll be no more lies. And you want him to reveal something at the end. Like, that's a thing. He does. It's his thing. What's he revealing?
He's revealing that he planted bombs. That's not really a riddle. That's more...
Yeah, no, like, here's what... You could have saved this pretty easily by giving him, like, he's had a pre-recorded speech. And he's, like, hacked into the thing so it shows up on the Jumbotron or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, the riddle, you know, the true riddle is not even about these specific people. They're just the tip of the iceberg. The actual answer, the one that no one wants to confront, is that the city itself can never be saved. And now that you know the truth, the only thing left is to act on it. Right? And then it would connect a little better.
Yes, that would be better. Yeah. That would be better.
And that'd be so cool, because he's in prison at this point, and that Bruce is, like, still confronting his face on the Jumbotron type of thing. Like, oh god, he's still out there. He's still here, you know? Which he is. He's got, like, a gang. Which is a cool idea. Like, the conspiracy theorists, terrorist guys is, like, a concern in real life, you know? So I liked that. And I like that they dress like him, so that kind of implied his presence. But give him a monologue, too. He would be the guy to have the Jumbotron monologue. Yeah, the missed opportunity.
Yeah, and so Batman has to go into the Superdome while there's flooding and evacuations, and Riddler's minions are busy getting ready to murder everyone. And
they've already shot the mayor, I should mention, who survives, it turns out. Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah. I thought they were going to go for a slightly bleaker ending. They're like, oh god, we don't even have any mayors yet left. You know, what are we going to do?
Okay, the janitor's in charge. He's the only one we've confirmed. We were going to go with the janitor's manager, but we found him in a huge orgy of cocaine.
Okay.
I plan to clean up the streets of Gotham, one mop at a time!
Right.
Every criminal will be put to work, literally cleaning the streets!
The other thing this scene is kind of missing is a sense of a deadline, right? Which maybe you don't need, but it is narratively convenient to be like, once they get to Wayne Tower, the water pressure is going to blow and it'll destroy the entire city, and like, here's victory versus defeat right here. And this is more like, save as many people as you can. I don't know. Clearly some of them have died already.
So
a little vague.
Batman, like, beats up some more goons, which we've seen before.
Yeah, it'd be nice if you had, like, some new technique that pulled out at the last minute. Some something.
And it turns out that the last goon that... Okay, here's the part that gets, like, into the Batman is invincible thing. Batman is lying on the ground. He's almost unconscious from being shot in the chest with a shotgun. And, like, it's knocked the wind out of him. Maybe he's got, like, broken ribs or something.
It looked like he was going to die, and I thought they were going to do it for a second. I thought maybe they'd do it, because it's a new franchise or whatever. Maybe this is, like, a one-shot Batman movie. This is the death of Batman. That would be interesting.
Like Shin Batman.
Yeah! But no. Okay.
No, but, like, so, like, while Selina's fighting off the last guy, he reaches to his utility belt, pulls out an anti-unconsciousness serum, jabs it into his thigh, screams like a madman, and then I can only assume that it's not anti-unconsciousness, it's like a berserker pack from Doom.
Yeah, it's like adrenaline.
And beats the shit out of this guy. And it turns out that this guy was a guy we'd met before at the funeral, or memorial service. And he was a guy that said, yeah, sure, they're giving, like, this great big memorial to this jackass, but when it was my daughter who died, no one cared. And then, like, as you walked away from him, Bruce turned back, and the guy kind of slowly stepped into the background and was lost to this massless silhouette. And it was a really cool scene, and I figured, oh, that guy's going to come up later, and he did.
Yeah,
so I was
you're
right.
good, because I did not figure that guy would come up again at all.
Yeah, but the guy says the reason he's doing this is vengeance, which is the same reason that Batman gave.
Yeah, they made a motif of everyone referring to him as the word vengeance and not the word Batman most of the time.
Which is a shame, because I was really, really, really hoping that they would do the Kevin Conroy thing.
Yeah.
You know, I am vengeance. I am the knight. I am Batman!
Yeah.
But they did not do that. Nope. And then Bruce gives a monologue while he's, like, helping. Bruce, like, seems like he's going to sacrifice himself to cut, like, an electrified wire from going into the water. Except he doesn't. He, like, gets back up and then he starts leading people to safety with a flare. And then everyone's being evacuated from the roof of the Superdome. And it's like, okay, good. And then Bruce gives a monologue about how I need to not be vengeance. I need to also be hope.
Yeah, I would have wanted to craft a narrative in that case in which Bruce's failure to be properly hopeful is like what sets off the whole problem, right? Make it like, because I had this character flaw, everything went wrong. And now I overcome the character flaw and in the process set things right. And it wasn't really a thing. It was mentioned that he hadn't done any philanthropy. The Bella is like, hey, you should do more philanthropy. And I'm like, okay, but make it more integral to things, I think would have landed that note better. Because it's a good note for Batman to have. The sense of, oh, I've done the wrong kind of heroism. I need to, like, be a hopeful figure.
Yeah, I mean, he can still be Batman.
Yeah, obviously.
I'm not saying he shouldn't be Batman, but, you know.
Yeah, but he can inspire as well.
It was subtle, but I don't think it was out front enough.
Yeah. Anyway, so he does that bit, and then we have another bit with, finally a Maria shows up. I mean, okay, they mentioned her name earlier, but I was, at this point, tuned into the word Maria, but it doesn't matter. Okay.
Turns out that it's Selina's mom, though that was mentioned earlier.
Yeah. By the way, flooding, why no reference to Noah? Like, that would totally be a Riddler thing, you know, and now the wicked shall be wiped out for their sins, you know, type of a...
Yeah.
He's not saying he's religious. I'm just saying everything has to, like, add up and be a symbol or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Selina and Batman go like, yeah, we can't stay together, even though, you know, I honestly felt that any romance between them felt kind of forced and felt more studio executives demanded that these two be in a relationship than actually having the things. Yeah. I didn't really sense much chemistry between them.
This particular Batman doesn't have the heart for romance of any kind.
Yeah, this is like early Batman who's still...
He's very... And I say this actually in an appreciative way. He's emo, right? I remember from the trailer, I was like, oh, they're doing like an emo Batman, which makes sense when you think about it. Normally he's such a strong, confident guy, but this is like, even in his Bruce Wayne mode, he's like, just kind of got his head down a little bit and staring at people a lot, you know, and looks uncomfortable, you know.
This isn't the Batman that we see in Batman the Animated Series yet.
Yeah, no.
The one where he's like, oh, yeah, like he's pretending to be a foppish dolt.
Right. And even in one, he's Batman in that series. He's got a certain confidence about him. He doesn't seem tortured inside so much, you know what I'm saying, compared to this guy. Which is, you know, fine, but different interpretations. But yeah, we can't be together. They have this long motorcycle ride, and they kept going like, okay, so they're gonna split up in different directions, right? You're not gonna like miss that shot. Like there was a fork in the road they didn't take at one point, and I was like, did you guys forget to put them on? This is clearly a fork in the road scenario. And, okay, later on there's a different fork.
I thought they were gonna do that thing like where like they say goodbye, but it turns out they're going in the same direction. Right. Yeah, look, I intended to say goodbye to you, but I am going this way.
The one thing we forgot though to mention after the whole latte thing, they take Riddler prisoner. And Batman goes to visit Riddler. This is before the flooding and the assassination, the latest.
Oh my god,
this
scene!
This scene, yeah. So Riddler calls and like wants Batman to come meet him at Arkham. So okay, and Batman walks in, and Riddler's like, "This is so great, right? We set up this whole plan, revealed all the lies." Long pause. Bruce Wayne, and we're like, oh god. And there's like they cut to a camera in the corner, like, oh god, this is being recorded for prison purposes, so like everyone's gonna know. And then he goes on about that for like 2 minutes before you realize, oh wait, he doesn't know that Batman is Bruce Wayne.
He goes, Bruce Wayne, Bruce Wayne. He gets to the point where it sounds like Dory's whale speak.
Yeah.
Riddler, I didn't know that you spoke Orca.
Yeah.
And then the Riddler goes, yeah, it's a shame that Bruce Wayne was the only one that got away. And then you're like, what?
Yeah, I get. Again, I feel like that's slightly sequel driven, right? If you had done a bit, you could have done it where, like, yes, his identity gets exposed, and then he dies 10 minutes later in the movie. But we want our sequels. I want to see the sequel too. I'm gonna see it, but like,
yeah,
you can just feel like these things tugging on where the plot otherwise would have gone, right? But I love this little speech he gives about how people had sympathy for Bruce Wayne, the orphan. Like, he is living in this goddamn tower and has $1 billion, and I'm living like with literal rats gnawing at my fingers, and like kids die from the cold every so often. And you're like, wow, that is really shitty, actually. And I don't know, I feel like Bruce should have we should have seen him renovating the orphanage at the end.
Yeah.
He's hired a whole construction crew, and he's...
I mean, maybe that's like, that was like supposed to be a... I think they're going to do a No Man's Land story next.
Maybe?
But at the same time, like, I'm going to renovate the orphanage just as soon as we sweep we get rid of the tsunami that took out City Hall.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Like, because, you know, that would be... Okay, that's helping Bruce, but I don't know, it seems like there would be more things to do rather than just focus on one orphanage, you know?
Yeah, I don't know, the narrative connection. Anyways, he gives a speech about how that, like, let's be clear, rich people can suffer too. They often do, and they get depression and trauma and all that, and I sympathize. And also, a good point made about poor people, on average, suffering even more. At least in this point of comparison. And so they're doing a whole... Every Batman villain's got some sort of, like, reflection on Batman himself. You know, Joker's like, oh, is Batman also crazy like Joker is?
Yes.
You know...
He dresses up as a bat
and fights crime. I know, but, like, you know, in the world of comic books, somehow it works. So, like, how much credit do you give from, like, the rule of premise, as it were?
That's true.
Okay, so in this show, they're doing like, okay, we both suffered as kids in a similar way. We're both orphans. We both hate evil and corruption. And again, you could have a bit of evidence. I want to say, like, let's mark the moment where Riddler went too far. We more clearly see the contrast. Bruce also has, of course, his usual rule against not killing. It would have been neat, and you could do this maybe in a series, to have, like, okay, Bruce earlier went through a phase of obsessively trying to find his parents' killer. Let's assume he wasn't the scene. And he ends up, like, nearly killing some guy who turns out to be innocent, right? Like, he looks similar, but like, no, I was in Hawaii at the time. Like, I can prove it. You know, like, oh God, like, I nearly killed this innocent man. And that's where his one rule comes from, type of deal. Give him a specific moment to build the one rule. I don't think I've ever seen that established.
There was a comic, part of like the Court of Owls, like compendium, like before it got stupid.
Yeah.
We've said before, we were talking about this earlier, like we like the Court of Owls, except then it turns out that the Court of Owls have an army of ninjas.
Give me like conspiracy crap, man. Give it to me fancy and...
But like Bruce looked into the Court of Owls and spent years like digging into the records and like going after, and he found Joe Chill and he was going to kill Joe Chill, but first he demanded to know, okay, Joe, tell me exactly who you were working for. And Joe's like, dude, I wasn't working for anyone. I was just hungry and your mom's pearls look expensive. I figured I could buy a sandwich.
Oh, I didn't know that scene. Yeah,
it was like, but Bruce was just like, no, you have to be working for someone. My parents' death could not have been an accident. Because it was like this moment that shaped his life. And then that's kind of when it's implied that this is kind of like the start of Batman, someone who would go to all these lengths in order to prevent someone from, another kid from experiencing.
That's a slightly different message from, I nearly killed an innocent man, though.
No, I know, but I was like going into something similar that like...
But anyway, like that would give a lot more weight to his line about something like, you know, to Selina, if you kill him, you'll be just like him. It's like, no, I won't. He deserves it, as opposed to, like, he killing innocent people. But from Batman's perspective, it's like, oh, just never cross that line, because you might do it wrong, you know? And I wanted Batman to be a little more shaken by Riddler's speech there. Because he just says, like, no, Riddler, you're a psychopath, and I hate you. And Riddler's like, no, I was your biggest fan. It's not supposed to be this way. I'm all messed up now. I wanted to do more of a little Hannibal Lecter there, a sense of like I can't come up with a comeback, you know, the sense of this guy is so getting into my brain that I don't know what to say, and then he ends up winning the argument, but not in that room. He wins it through like saving Gotham and proving that,
which would have been better for the final scene, which we haven't really gotten to that. The final scene is that Riddler is sobbing in his cell. Why? You won. Everyone you wanted dead is dead, and the city is destroyed. How did you lose in this scenario? Why are you crying?
He wanted Bella to lose also, I guess. What was the idea?
I don't really understand what his end goal was. Once Falcone got taken out, the movie's pretty much over.
I thought that would be the end of the movie, and then I was like impressed that there's more of it, and then I'll analyze, and you're also like, also the part that comes after is a little unconnected.
Yeah.
But he's sobbing, and then who do you know? The Joker is like 2 cells down.
Well, we don't say it's the Joker.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
But it's a guy who mentions clowns and laughs hysterically at the thought of doing evil, you know. So it's the Joker. We just don't say it's the Joker.
Cool, and they're like friends now, and they're gonna break out or something. And and that's it. There's nothing after the. No, there's like tiny bit after the credits. It just said like the end ?
And then like a website flashed on the screen for like a microsecond.
Something. Yeah, go look it up. It's probably whatever clues about the next movie.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, but yeah, it's still for all our complaints, it's still a damn good movie.
It's good tone to it. Interesting Bruce Wayne. A lot of interesting ideas.
Plus, it's just a great mystery detective noir story.
Thing. Even if our character is more just following a trail left for him and less. I would love to see like a more, Xanatos speed chess where Batman keeps interrupting Riddler plans and the Riddler has to keep resorting to backup plans and then like wins a bit anyway and then we're like, God damn it, how many? We're like, okay, we're really grappling now, you know, we're trying to defeat each other. Though that would have thrown off the whole Riddler thought Batman was working with him the whole time. So I'm not sure how you could have made that two things work together. Oh well. I guess that's about it, then.
Yeah. So anyways, go see the Batman. I'm Sith King.
I'm Sonic Sons.
Signing off.